Welcome to this edition of Cup Chat with Birding with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. Today, Emily Grant and Bryan Calk discuss Christmas gifts for your favorite birder. Hope you enjoy. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Birding with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. Today, I am going to check to make sure we are live. Since we don't have Maureen with us, we're going to do a little check and make sure that we're on. And then, as course, if you are joining us this morning, make sure that you let us know you're joining us by giving us a comment and letting us know that you're with us this morning. So we're going to do a little check us by giving us a comment Okay, we are live, and as you can hear, I've got it pulled up too, so I can see all your comments. So today, joining me is our OG, our original Birding with Extension guide, Bryan. How are you doing?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm good. What have you been up to? Let's give me the birding, what you've been up to lately for everybody to hear about.
Birding, what I've been up to lately. Good question. Let's see. I just got back earlier this month from 2 weeks of guiding where I was guest hosting on the AgriLife social media. I was doing a tour with Naturalist Journeys. We started up in Corpus and did Rockport, and then we did all the Rio Grande Valley. And then immediately after that, I guided for a week at the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival, which is trips every day and booths and vendors and all of that fun stuff. So it was good to be out guiding for a while back in Texas. It's always nice to feel like I'm back home. And then recently I've just been here in Albuquerque. Waterfowl are coming in, which is really nice. I've got a spot not far from my house where I can see things like pintails and canvasbacks and widgeons just up close and personal, which is really cool and unusual. I remember when I was growing up birding on all those ranches out there in Kinney County, Miss Kathy Bader and I would army crawl up the hill just to see a duck from like 300 yards away, but now I can just like see him like 3 feet away, which is really interesting. It's kind of a different experience. But otherwise, it's been just kind of a slowish, relaxed kind of fall. But excited for winter birding.
So, okay, this is fun. It was happening to me. And just the other day, and this is a fun guessing game for Bryan that I like to play on a normal basis. But so I was driving, and so we stopped at a stoplight, and there's a bunch of little bitty sparrows on the ground. So the gas station, going to give you the making the case for bird ID. So the habitat was an intersection, and there was a gas station on the corner. And other than that, not much habitat. But we had all these little sparrows hopping around, and then we had a bigger confused bird hanging out with the sparrows. There was not a sparrow, but he was very interesting looking. And I should have looked him up right then, but the light was short and I was on the phone, of course. But I mean, he was a good double a sparrow's height. He had orangey legs, brownish, maybe some spotty there. Kind of looked like almost looked shorebirdish in his silhouette-ish, but not big with short legs. He was weird looking. You got a guess?
The sparrows I would guess would be house sparrows. They're like the typical one around gas stations.
Yes. Sparrows, check. I knew those. But the other bird that was just hanging out with him, it was almost so weird. It was like he was an oversized giant sparrow who thought, or a bird he thought he was a sparrow, but he wasn't. Or he was a weird looking sparrow. I mean, it wasn't a sparrow, I assure you. But it would take me hours to go through the book and find him.
Really weird shape and odd looking bird that might be hanging out with sparrows, maybe European starling. They have sort of that long bill that can be yellow.
Aren't those more brown aren't those darker?
When they're in really nice plumage, they get all shiny and black. But a lot of times in winter and with juvenile plumages, they can be sort of brown and gray and weirdly spotted, and they're just kind of odd looking.
Oh, I'm going to give you, I think you could be right. I mean, maybe. The non-breeding adult immature male does look close. Could be. I give it to you. So
All right.
I give it to you. Okay, well, back to on topic today, now that we've kind of caught up on our bird news, is we are going to be talking about what to give our favorite birders for Christmas. So we are going to go through our gift guide for birders. And I'm really excited about this, and I really wish, I'm not going to lie, that we would have thought of it a lot earlier, and we could have done something over the top and elaborate like Oprah would have. But we're not Oprah, so we'll just roll with it. Okay, so let's kind of start with okay, so I'm gonna start with my number one thing that I think all birders could take as a gift is seed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to start with there because I think that that's one of the things that even if you want to gift birding with extension seed, we are always buying when we are putting out feeders for our programs. So I am going to throw this out is that we really love Wild Birds Unlimited, especially the one here in Kerrville. Shout out to the Kerrville store because they have supported us through our birding with extension programs. But what I love is when I walk into they're so knowledgeable. And so I can ask, okay, these are my target birds. These are the birds I want to be seeing. These are the ones I want to be attracting to my feeders. They have a different variety and it's all high quality seed in their bags of seed. It's not like a Walmart mix and have a lot of trash seeds in there as well. So I'm going to take this two ways. So if you need a large scale gift, you can always buy a 50-pound bag and put that under the tree. Or take that to your favorite family gathering for someone to take home. But I also think that a lot of times in the holidays, we look for small gifts for our friends. And so I think even doing a small package of suet, I think you could take a small package of suet and I'm going to say make it cute. Or, I mean, they make the bell-shaped suet feeders now. But I think you could take a lot of the feed part of our bird feeders and turn it into a cute little gift for like a sewing group or your birding group that you go out with daily. If you're looking for a small gift that kind of says happy birding kind of thing. That's my number one easy gift guide is go for something useful and practical. You can always cutesy it up by gift packaging it cute if you need it in a smaller package. So that's my number one. Bryan, what's your number one?
Ooh, my number one. That's a great question. I think it just totally depends on your budget and the birder that you have in mind. But I guess if you don't have anything specific, my number one, I think most birders love a good new bird related book. I think one way that you can kind of go wrong in this category is finding the first field guide on the shelf and saying it has a bird on the cover, and that means that like my birder friend definitely will love this, which is not necessarily true. But there are lots of good novels about birding, about big year birding, about all sorts of things. There are also more technical books about molt and migration and specific groups of birds, like there are shorebird guides. And if you know that your birder likes to go on pelagic trips, there are seabird guides. There are all sorts of different really great books out there that I think would be a great gift for a lot of birders.
Well, and you talk about the different I'm putting out there that everyone should let us know if they have a great bird Christmas guide idea in the comments. But I think you make a good point is if you were going to buy me a bird book, you would not buy me a very sciencey bird book. You would buy me something that's easy to read because we all know that reading is not my favorite thing. But on a second note, it's just, I like easy reading. Like if I'm going to read something, I want to kind of enjoy it. So I'm the person who would like someone's more of their story about their big year versus the science of molting. I'm going to give Bryan that book and ask him to give me the short version of the science of molting. So I think you're right. You have to gauge your birder and what kind of book they would like. But you're going to kind of know that anyways, because you could kind of equate it to what kind of real book they would like. Where are you going to buy them? What section are you shopping for? The science section, the fiction section, the self-help section,
Right. Exactly.
Even if it was just any other book. So I think you're right. You have to gauge your books or you could go wrong there. Can't just buy a bird with a book on the cover. Okay. How about, I had this thought. What about for kids? A Christmas gift for kids, and maybe one that seems to have a little interest in birding, but isn't necessarily a birder. Go. This is a good one.
This one is tough.
Oh, really? See, I think I have a few ideas. I want to hear.
Okay, you go first. You go first.
No, okay. So I think that one thing to do here is if you have especially if you have it depends on what, I've got several thoughts, because I think a field guide is a way to go here, because we're trying to get them in. They showed some interest, but they are not, but don't get them the big one. A big field guide can be super overwhelming, especially if you're not sure what you're looking for. It's like trying to use a dictionary and you can't spell the word. I mean, it's pointless. So I vote that if it's a kid, maybe you are creative and you give them a kit to build their own field guide, so you print a bunch of stuff off online and you kind of make their own book, and you kind of give them the opportunity to make their own field guide. What is, Bryan, what was the book that what's his face had at camp? Oh, and I told you I loved it.
Oh, the Birders Journal.
Yes.
Where you go in and you can write down your sightings of each bird and all of that.
Yeah, and I think that that's also another great gift for a kid who's starting to bird, kind of almost any age level, because even if a kid cannot spell, we have a shout out to Ag Law in the Field podcast, Miss Dowell, or no, she's married now. Miss Tiffany Dowell Lashman, her kids have a dinosaur field guide. And so obviously there are dinosaurs roaming the earth, but she's taught them, they were interested in dinosaurs, so they made their own field guide. And so I think in her kiddos or kindergarten or lower. And so I think at any age, a kid can make their own field guide. So you could give them a field guide making kit that you kind of create and put together, or giving them a birder's journal that they could fill out as they go, without having to feel overwhelmed by a big field guide. I think is a way to start with a beginner or a youth kiddo that is interested in birding, but maybe isn't dived in yet.
I think those are great ideas. I think something else, I'm just trying to think back to, when I was a kid, what I would have loved, or what I did love. Okay. Again, I think you said get seed as sort of like a smaller packageable gift. But definitely I think feeders, bringing birds to the kids where they can just look out the window and, get that interaction with wild birds on a daily basis. I think that's great if they don't already have feeders. I think, this is sort of trickier because, with kids, they want to probably unwrap gifts at Christmas and have that they can physically hold, right?
Yeah.
But, taking them with your local Audubon group or bird club and on their monthly bird walk or something,
Oh,
and
that's a good one.
getting them out with other people who are also excited about birds and sort of showing them that community that exists. I think that can be really powerful for someone young. And also, I think there's lots of gear for birding that's also just like good gear to have in general. So like rain gear, snow gear, hats, hiking boots, all that sort of stuff. That's, everybody needs anyway, um, but can be sort of spun as, you know, gear for birding, I guess. Um, I think those are all good. And then, of course, binoculars, if they don't already have a pair. Um, and we can go into binoculars a little bit too. But I think it goes without saying those are kind of important if you're going to be looking at birds. So there are some really cheap binoculars geared towards kids out there that would make a great gift. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go that route. Let's go to optics for Christmas gifts. So we're going to go ahead and throw out the disclaimer that we are not optics experts, and we leave our optics shopping to the experts. So if you're optics shopping this year, we encourage you, if you have any questions, to reach out to Land, Sea, and Sky. They are our educational optics partner. They're based out of Houston. Love them. So just give them a call with your optics questions. And they are wonderful in terms of trying to help educate you so that you know what you're buying. So as we talk about optics and have just put out the disclaimer that we're not an expert, and to call the experts to ask questions, let's talk about giving optics as a gift. Our optics, giving optics, binoculars, maybe let's talk about high-end optics.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the gift a husband wants to surprise his wife, his birdie wife with, if he doesn't know what kind of optics she wants? I vote no.
If you don't know what they like to use, then I would say no. Don't spend.
Beth agrees. No.
Yeah, don't spend thousands of dollars on a pair of binoculars if you don't know what kind they want to use. I'm hesitant to even pay thousands of dollars on a pair of binoculars, and I know what kind of binoculars I like, without being able to hold them in your hands and look through them and say, this is the pair of binoculars that I really want. Yeah, it's a big investment, and something that you're going to be using if you're a birder, potentially almost every day. So yeah, it can be tough.
So a coupon out there is the way to go. If you are shopping for a birder, a coupon for optics is not a bad idea.
Right. Or a surprise trip to your to Land, Sea, and Sky or Cabela's or something. Yeah.
That's a cute idea. And then you get extra bonus points for being creative.
There you go.
Yes.
I saw that from Beth. That's funny.
Yes.
That's what I would need.
Smart man.
Yep. But if you do know specifically what they're looking for, I think binoculars can be a great gift. And if they don't know what they're looking for, are you just looking for something generic for someone who maybe is a newer birder or obviously needs an upgrade? There are some lower end binoculars between $100 and $200 that can still be a pretty significant upgrade for someone who's maybe not invested in their own binoculars before or is looking for somewhat of an upgrade, that are pretty safe. I would say, looking at the specs on binoculars, 8x42 tends to be the most widely used, whatever that's called, binocular model. And as far as brands go, Nikon and Vortex, I would say for the more accessible, affordable end of binoculars, those are two pretty good brands to look at. If you feel like that's a good purchase and it'll be a good fit for the birder in your life.
Well, and I think you bring up a great point is you got to do some research. If you're going to buy optics for someone, you got to do a little bit of snooping. So you need to snoop and kind of figure out what kind of optics they currently have, if they have any at all. And then you get on the phone and you call and you say, okay, unless you are an optics expert, and you say, okay, they have these kinds of binoculars. What would be the upgrade? So something kind of like that would be what you kind of need to do if you're going to shop for optics. Okay, so piggybacking on optics, how about a great stocking stuffer?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wipes.
Yes, that is on my list. There are all sorts of binocular and optics accessories that would make great stocking stuffer type gifts. So camera and lens wipes, cleaning kits, all that stuff, really great to use. Harnesses and straps. So some people like the binocular harness that goes over the shoulder and it connects in the middle. If they're not using that one already and they haven't specifically asked for it, don't probably get that, because it is very much like a taste sort of thing again, whether you're going to like it or not. If they like the strap around the neck, they make some really cool neck straps that are like woven with like cool designs and things. I've always wanted one of those, but I prefer the harness thing, which is
that you don't even wear correctly.
I know. I've fitted it to my own. See, that's why it's so specific. It's like I like the harness, but I don't even wear it the way it's supposed to be worn. So everyone is different, which makes it really hard. But cleaning kits, everybody needs one of those. Safe. Other stocking stuffers. I mean, I'm a gardener, so I like to garden for the birds. So I always need little pruners or seed packets or anything related to the garden.
That's a good one. And hey, I'll throw out 2 suggestions here is always check out. So we hosted, and forgive me for forgetting her name, but a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, we hosted the native plant backyard challenge. And so she has an Etsy shop. So maybe she has some small gifts in there, but always, check out any of the native seed companies. And so throwing out one that we know of and that's been a supporter of the Extension, Birding with Extension, has been Native American Seed Company. Is that the right word? I think that's right. Out of Junction. So always, so if like my mom loved, she planted. And this is really neat. And so my mom has a really big yard that she doesn't take care of. She has flower beds, but then the yard is just like not a yard. It's an area. And so she just did a wildflower seed mix and sprinkled it out. And so she goes, it's not really like I don't do anything with it, but it's out there. And so she wants more wild seed flower mix so she can do another section of her yard area. We call it the compound. She fenced an area so the dogs couldn't go anywhere. So I'm going to get her some more just wildflower seeds. And that's kind of a neat thing if someone doesn't have a garden. Sometimes if people out in the country have yards that aren't actually yards, they mow it because they feel like they need to, but it's not really a yard. And so just a wildflower seed mix that they could sprinkle out there and plant for the spring to come up is super fun and pretty. So, okay, back to your list. I'm ready.
Sure. Another great stocking stuffer. I think I'm looking at my list of like gift ideas that I wrote out very quickly this morning. I think this is sort of the last one that kind of fits as a stocking stuffer, and that's gift cards. And I think gift cards are always a great idea for a birder because, as we've sort of mentioned several times already in several of our categories, birders can be very picky, specific people in what they need and what they want. So gift cards are great. The few options that I sort of came up with really quickly and ones that I know I personally would use um, would be, as I mentioned, like a Cabela's or an REI, sort of any of those outdoorsy type stores where I could go buy a new rain shell or new hat or new hiking boots, things that all birders use all the time. Um, Amazon, you know, you can get whatever you need in the world on Amazon.
Ooh,
Um,
Sydney's suggestion or Stephanie's suggestion.
State Park Pass, yes,
That's a
absolutely.
great one, Stephanie. I don't think I had that on my list. Brian may have had it on his list, but I love
Yep,
that one.
yep. State Park Pass. I actually just had to renew my National Park Pass, so any sort of park pass, great idea. Um, the Wild Birds Unlimited, like you mentioned, if there's one near you, that's a great gift card idea. And one that I just kind of thought of last minute was a gift card to the App Store of whatever phone they have, either the iTunes Apple App Store or the Google Play Store if you have Android, to buy some of the more expensive birding apps that are out there, like the Sibley app that I use every time I go birding. That's like, I don't know how much it is now. It's somewhere around 15, $20 on the App Store. But it's one of my most used birding tools. So there are a lot of great apps out there that I think people would love to get, but it's kind of a hard gift to give. But having that sort of gift card, I think, sort of helps with that. So anyway, those are my stocking stuffer ideas.
I love that. Okay, so here's my other thought when going down the gift card aisle is if you know your friend is going to be taking a birding trip, I think a neat one could be a gift card of food, like because a birding trip is already quite pricey. You know, if you could give, you know, several gift cards for meals like Chick-fil-A, Whataburger. I mean, just things that are out there in a normal kind of realm, giving them, you know, eat lunch on me on your birding trip, kind of cute little note. I love the state park pass idea. And the other thing is it also depends on your budget. As you look at those gift cards and who you're buying for, how much money are you going to be spending and giving through those gift cards. And I think that there's always, let's jump back a little bit. Not that we've been super organized on our list, but we talked about feeders for kids. And I think feeders for adults are also a great gift, especially in that mid-range cost kind of area. I think you can talk to our friends at Wild Birds Unlimited and really get a specific feeder for the area, for the birds that friend may want to target, and things like that. So I think a good feeder is always an option as well for that mid-range gift. Do we want to hop back to optics at all? You got some more optics on your list?
I've actually, one thing that you said was getting food for birding outings, food gift cards. You can also, in talking about budget, this is sort of one end of the budget, is you can, through a lot of tour companies, you can buy vouchers for trips and tours. So if you know that the birder in your life likes to travel and see birds in other places, you can buy them either a whole tour, or you can contact a local guide somewhere that you know that you like to go, and sort of purchase a day of guiding with them.
Cute.
So that's actually something someone just I need to text them back, but they are buying a day of birding around Santa Fe with me for one of their friends. So I'm providing them a little gift certificate that says 1 day of birding with Brian in Santa Fe. And so they'll just have to arrange with me what day they want that to be, and I'll just meet up with them and take them around birding. So sort of providing that guided experience is totally an option.
That's a cute idea. Well, and that's true because, and the nice thing about that, and especially if you are looking at, you know, talking to a local guide or a private guide like Brian, is that he can, you know, depending upon what your budget is, he could go anywhere and be anywhere. And then also, the flexibility there. You're not buying them a set tour that runs on these days, and you have to make sure their calendar is set. And it may be also a fun thing to do is like a birding group. So, maybe you're, instead of giving everybody a little package of seeds, say, well, I just have invited a guide to our November meeting, and he's going to come out and go with us and give us a little extra. So it definitely could be utilized in a lot of different ways, depending on budget and where you're at, and if you have a local bird guide. So I like that one.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, and then optics. The other side of optics, I guess. Well, I guess there are two other sides. One is a scope, which is sort of the same. I would say the same things that we did about binoculars, about knowing specifically what they want. And the other is a camera, which again, sort of is in the same lane. Sort of knowing what they want is very helping.
Well, at what level they are. I mean, I think that's the difference is if you don't, and maybe piggybacking off the camera is maybe if they want to kind of dabble in it, or they think they're interested, but they don't want to make that investment of the camera, giving them a camera class or a wildlife photography class so that they can dabble in it and understand and learn, and then know what they want or know if they're really interested.
I think that's an amazing idea. The class in particular, especially for the binoculars. For the camera. Because I've witnessed on several birding trips, people show up with brand new cameras that they just got for themselves, or it was a gift or whatever. And then they spend the whole trip just frustrated because they started out all excited and, I got this new camera, I'm going to take so many great pictures. And then by day 3, they realize I have no idea how to use this thing. And I'm just spending the whole time fumbling around and pressing buttons when I could be looking at birds. So definitely a class, I think, is a great idea for someone who's new to sort of the photography and camera aspect. I think that will just make things happier in the long run for them. Because there's a steep learning curve with a camera. But yeah, knowing what they want to get out of their bird photography is going to help with deciding what camera is going to work best for them.
Okay, so we are over our 30-minute mark. So we are going to kind of wrap up. I feel like we could keep talking about gift guides forever. I'm going to throw out one more little gift guides on the cutesy side that maybe you're not necessarily, you don't maybe live in the same house as a person you're giving your birding gift to, or you don't know them that great as a birder, but they like birds. You don't know what level they're at. Always a good, cute piece of art or birding mug, birding glass, anything that is. I think there's lots of options out there. They stickers, shirts. There's tons of options out there for just general gift giving. In that realm. So I think there's a lot of memorabilia is not the right word, bird arts and bird cutesies. I think you have to be careful in some of that and making sure it's not too large or overbearing, that it's not going to match somebody's house or their personality. Like everyone knows you would not buy me a big, bright, colorful painting of a bird because I'm not a colorful person in terms of my wardrobe and lifestyle. I like neutrals. So like Bryan would give me a black and white picture of a bird. So some of that kind of helps, but I think you can't go wrong with cute little things. Or here's my last point, and Mr. Lori sent us this idea. Always a charitable donation to a birding association that both of you find near and dear to your heart. Or, Birding with Extension, just saying, Rio Diablo Birding Camp. Making a donation in someone's name is always a good giving gift. Let's be real, a lot of us don't need for anything. We want for some things, but we truly don't need anything. And so giving a gift and giving back is one great gift you could give someone in your favorite birder. I do love, Lori shared in the comments, They have Adopt a Bluebird box program for Christmas gifts, and they put your name on the box, and they give you a weekly update with pictures during the breeding season. So that's a really neat active way that you can give back and that friend can enjoy their gift. So I encourage lots of gift giving this Christmas for your favorite birder. It was fun. Ryan, what do you think?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good thing to sort of start thinking about. I would say I'm gonna sort of have my closing remarks, I guess, as far as go.
I'm ready.
I totally agree with you on art. That was one of the things on my list. As you can see, I have bird art everywhere. I think one sort of good thing to do if you're going to sort of commission a specific piece of art or look for a specific bird art is to know some of the favorite birds of your birding friend. So like I have multiple pieces of art of black and white warblers, which is one of my favorite birds. And I have my common paraki here, which is my favorite bird. So sort of knowing the birds that they particularly love will make that sort of a little more special. And then piggybacking on your charitable donation comment,
I'm ready.
you can make charitable donations that also sort of have direct benefits to the gift receiver. So like memberships, right? So you can become a member of your local Audubon chapter or your state Audubon chapter or national Audubon, which is a donation to Audubon. But at the same time, you get the benefits of membership, right? So same with ABA, you can get an ABA membership, which also means you get their monthly or quarterly or whatever publication, which is always fun to read about what's going on in the world of birding. So, having those donations to places that sort of give you something back was always kind of fun. Also, sort of in that same line, you can always get sort of magazine subscriptions and things like that, which are always fun to receive. It's sort of like the gift that keeps on giving. And also, one last idea that I had and that we kind of mentioned a little bit already, there are lots of birding classes that you can take online. A lot of them are offered through Cornell. I know Christy offers some through Bird Mentor, where you can sort of beef up your birding skills, whether that's bird song or ID or whatever it might be. So those are my sort of final thoughts on gifts.
I think that we have done a great job. Next year, we will definitely be a little more organized and have a top 5 and have some categories. I think that this is going to be a yearly tradition now. So I want to encourage everyone to join us next week. We have a special guest, and if you ask me to tell you, remember his name from the other day, I'm going to lie. Oh, Raymond, and you know how to say his last name. Van Bursk.
Oh, Van Busker?
Yes. He's joining us next week, and he is going to be talking about woodpecker ID. And then the following week, we were going to be, let me double check. Let me check the agenda, make sure I'm right. Okay, so we're going to do woodpecker ID next week. And then the following week, we are planning on doing a Beyond the Birds weather conversation, because we feel like birds and weather are highly related. And then on the last Wednesday of the year, on the 29th, we will be live doing our year in review, and we will kick off our top 10 most watched Cup Chats on December 20th. So through the holidays, we kind of take a little bit of a break, but we count down and do the top 10 Cup Chats of the year for y'all to kind of go back and watch some of our favorites and what y'all love the most. So we'll be sharing those starting on the 20th. So anyways, we hope to see everyone next week. We hope that everyone got a lot of good gift ideas. In case you didn't know, Christmas is right around the corner. We encourage everybody to get out and enjoy their local Christmas bird count and help with those. And if you haven't started Christmas shopping, start now. I need to remind myself that. I have bought 0 Christmas gifts. So if you are in my life and you're expecting a Christmas gift, I have not started yet. So telling myself. So
Don't feel bad, me neither. I'm in the same boat.
it's all good. Well, and we are hopeful that we will have some more news about birding with extension programming in 2022. I know that we have canceled Birding the Border, and there is no lodging available. But we do have a surprise for everyone coming up on a replacement program for Birding the Border. 2021, it will be the same dates that Birding the Border was slated to be, and we will have that announcement probably at the end of December. We got to get a few more details worked out. Large change of plans there. And then we have a fun program coming up this summer that we hope to announce as well in the end of December. So excited about some new things coming down the road. Here at Birding Extension as we kind of wrap up 2021 and head into 2022. My goodness, I never thought it would come. So it's been a long year.
It has been. It really has been. Yep.
Well, we can't go into our year in review, and we've spent 30 minutes. So we want to say, everyone, have a great day and happy Wednesday, and we will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
It has been.